This is Jeff Mucci, Group Publisher for RCR Wireless News. We're here at CTIA today with Robert Elliott, Chief Marketing Officer for Smith Micro. Thank you for joining us today.
Hey, it's a pleasure. I'm really glad to be here.
Smith Micro is probably one of the most familiar companies that most consumers have never heard of. I use it every day, and I had no idea it was Smith Micro. Tell us a little bit about the history of the company, and then what you actually do today and who you do it for.
Okay. Yeah, that's a great opening segment, Jeff, because we have millions, literally millions of products out there, but they're all rebranded under our major customers' lines. So Smith Micro originally started back in 1983. We've always been in what's known as the communications industry, primarily developing PC applications and Mac applications for things that accessed a modem. At one time, we had a number of faxing software solutions shipping on all the major modems that were out there. And then as that technology eclipsed and hit the technology barrier way back when, the company reinvented itself, and we saw the opportunity and the need to move into the wireless segment, which we thought would be the way of the world at some point in time, as we're all coming to see. So out of that, we started developing a new product called a Connection Manager to help people get, and these were wireless subscribers from major carriers, to be able to get connected to the internet via a wireless PC card, or at that time tethered device with a mobile phone, dongles and things like that. Absolutely. And one of our strengths was to be able to set the PC up or the Mac up in about 90 seconds and get the user up and running. So the software recognizes all the drivers that had to be installed or had to be present, set up the application on the device itself, and set all the protocols that were the various different wireless networks. And so that was the beginning and where we really part of our core competency that we have. Today, that's continued to evolve into a number of different products. We've, of course, added a number of different networks that we can support. We support approximately 180 carriers worldwide in the U.S. today. We work on all the major wireless protocols, whether it be CDMA, GSM, WiMAX, LTE as it's starting to roll out, and of course Wi-Fi, and all the different flavors and speed bumps along the way that happen. We build these products today, and they're marketed under brands such as Verizon Access Manager, products like that. But today we build them for Verizon Wireless, AT&T, Sprint, T-Mobile USA, Bell Mobility in Canada, a number of other smaller wireless carriers in the United States. We also offer services through cable companies, which are emerging and coming into the wireless market, where major customers there are Comcast, Time Warner, the Clear brand, Clearwire. In the PC world, we build connection managers for Dell as well as HP. So chances are, if you're trying to connect to the internet wirelessly through a carrier or a subscriber, an ISP of some sort, you've used our product, even though it's under a different brand.
At your core, do you consider yourself a software application company? And if not, what do you consider yourself?
Yeah, I think that's probably a good way to think about it. I mean, we're definitely a software company. We do not dabble in hardware of any type. We have a couple of components that we help customers with when it's creating a mobile VPN, where you want to be able to implement what we call session persistence, which is the ability to seamlessly roam between different networks, and you can imagine, if you go to work in the morning, you and I start up our laptop, and get connected maybe once or twice in a day. Well, if you're a police officer who's roaming in and out of Wi-Fi, cellular, different flavors of cellular, different speeds of cellular, you might have to be connecting, 40 or 50 times. Well, that's a lot of times to reboot that. So things like session persistence, which are beginning to make their way into the marketplace, are a great alternative to restarting that laptop or having to always choose. One of the things that I see happening in the marketplace, and one of the places that we're moving forward for all our customers, is in intelligent connectivity. We call it adaptive connectivity, but it's the ability to help make intelligent decisions about how I use my product, how I connect, what networks I prefer to connect, and I don't have to select what's the cheapest network that I could be on, what's the most cost savings, which is obviously of high interest to enterprise IT managers as they look to manage costs inside a mobile workforce. So it's the ability to be able to provide tools like that, make ease of use, paramount to the end user, but always have them connected.
Interesting. You talked about HP and Dell,
Uh-huh.
one of your customers. You talked about the operators as your customers, and then you mentioned the enterprise as your customer. Are you currently selling to enterprise today?
We are. We have a few selected but very large enterprise customers that come to us primarily from referrals from our wireless carriers. And these are customers that typically operate worldwide. They also operate in North America on multiple networks, with multiple carrier contracts. But the IT manager wants the ability to have the same application and, pushed out across all their various devices. They typically want more policy management in the application and the ability to be able to roll out policies to their end users, turning off features, disguising some things. The last thing you want is a marketing guy in there trying to reconfigure the laptop for you, and breaking the connection, right? So, which obviously turns out to be a call to the IT manager. So, those kind of things, those abilities to lock down and configure things from a server standpoint and help IT management is paramount. We also are looking at another major initiative inside the company in 2010, and we'll start shipping it in Q2 and then revs throughout into early Q1 in 2011 are more server technologies for IT managers. The ability to provide analytics so that they understand how users are in their mobile workforce are using the device, not necessarily from a big brother standpoint, but just so that they understand, this person's connecting to, the internet through a Wi-Fi network most of the time, or they're in a location that requires cellular and they don't have a lot of access to Wi-Fi, things like that. How are they using the device? When do they use it? Helps them to manage, their network both internally and in a secure Wi-Fi environment, as well as with all their various cellular contracts.
How will Smith Micro manage channel conflict in terms of, I work for X company who gives me an HP. I have my iPhone that I'm able to bring to work with me that has a Smith Micro product, and I may have some other device that wants to connect, and I'm going to VPN into the corporate network. So Smith Micro is the connection manager or the communication manager across multiple devices through different channels. Which one's going to control that user interaction? How do you manage that potential for conflict?
Well, I really think if you can create the technology and sort of empower the IT manager in this instance, to a great degree, it's up to them to determine, what the policies are within each company. In the case of an iPhone, which is typically a pretty closed device, maybe not widely adopted by enterprise customers out there, you're going to have a different set of circumstances. But one of the things I have heard, just recently from a number of different users is, with some of the new OSs coming out, such as Android, Windows 7, products like that, people are going, wow, I can get a corporate device that I can utilize some of my personal type services. And I really think that one of the things that the iPhone probably did and did very well was introduce us to a new type of device where people use it for business, but they also use it for, personal things. You keep photos. I mean, I keep photos of, the trade show, things that I see at this particular show on my iPhone. I also have, pictures of my, friends and family on there. And so I think that you're seeing a little bit of a blend of that, and obviously that probably causes a few IT managers a little bit of heartburn, from the old school. But, I think it's kind of becoming the way of the world. And with the emergence of new tablets that are coming out, I think you're going to see probably more and more of that.
In the software business, where many would say software is very commoditized, people can replicate software, design software, be a challenger very quickly. How has Smith Micro been able to maintain such a dominant share across so many market segments and something that some might perceive as software?
Yeah. Another great question. I think that we're probably a great listener. We listen to our customers very carefully. We even reach out sometimes with key customers and talk to them about, strategic acquisitions that we're thinking about for the company. So, we try to listen to what our customers want, but we also take a look at the technology. We have a number of good technologists inside the company, and we look at where trends are going, and we start to develop solutions that will help solve our customers' problems rather than add to them. And I think that's been one of our key strengths.
And Robert, in closing, can you give us a sense of the scale and scope of your workforce, where they are, what types of things that they do, where are your major design centers or development centers?
Sure. Yeah, we are headquartered in Southern California, in Orange County, which is a major development center for us. We also have development centers in Silicon Valley, Chicago, Herndon, Virginia, Stockholm, Sweden, and Serbia. So we're spread a little bit around the world depending on the different type of technologies that we are delivering for customers today. But primarily we're a California company, with quite a few of us located in both Northern and Southern California.
Robert, thanks for joining us today.
You bet. Thank you. Pleasure.
I want to ask one more question, if I could. We'll edit it back in, because I didn't ask you what are the top trends in your business for 2010.
Yep.
So, ready? Robert, one more. Well, let me start. Robert, what do you see as probably the single greatest trend or opportunity for Smith Micro in 2010?
Great question. I think there's kind of two areas that we're focused on, which is kind of normal for us, is to kind of try and drive our technologies and our solutions in parallel with one another. The first is intelligence, and I touched on that briefly in the earlier on, and that's adding analytics and more intelligence into all our software products across the board, whether they be content managers, whether they be connectivity, making things easier for the end user, but also on the back end helping the customer who has to deliver these services, whether it be an IT manager or a wireless carrier, they've given them the ability to deliver a better product to their subscriber base or customer base or employee base, whatever the case may be. The other area, though, that's going to really change things and that's coming is video. So mobile video to the mobile device certainly opens up whole new possibilities. A couple of things driving it: the higher speed bandwidth that you're just starting to see rolled out, from whether it be mobile 4G WiMAX or LTE. It's going to really change the way that we can get information, data services, the type of data services that we can get to the devices. So the ability to be able to look at your favorite television program on a device, whether it be a small smartphone style device or more like a tablet, or your television for that matter. Get those things on demand. All of those things are really, I think, going to light up the industry in the next 4 to 5 years. And the only question that's out there that I think's probably really unresolved is, will I have to see advertising while I'm watching this?
Robert, thanks again.
Thank you.
Good stuff.